Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Pitch Talk.
We are fans of football dropping vlogs, blogs, videos and podcasts on the beautiful game.
Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram's IGTV,
including special feature segments, vlogs such as
5 Minutes with the G,
The Straight Shooting View,
Coaching with JBK,
audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Podomatic, Spotify,
Mixcloud
and other podcast platforms.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook
and our official website www.pitch-talk.com.
The pitch is where we eat,
the pitch is where we sleep,
and the pitch is where we talk.
I can see you now. I can see you now and then. I can see you now.
Pitch Talk
special feature segment.
Hey, what's up people? Straight Shooting LJA here, and welcome to this Pitch Talk special feature segment. Now, what we're going to be talking about in this is the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this past weekend. And myself and JBK had some choice words where we had a discussion about not just the sacking of Solskjaer, but also before myself and Nathan Arsenal as well, one of our other Pitch Talk contributors, actually had, and that's where we're going to start. We had a little WhatsApp chat about the so-called emergency meeting that was called by Manchester United's board and later denied, and Sky Sports reported as well that it was denied, but the Sunday Times actually reported that the meeting had happened straight after the defeat against Watford, the mauling against Watford. Oh, sorry, I'm a Liverpool supporter. You guys know that already, so that's why I'm chuckling. But as said, myself and JBK went into a bit of detail talking about Manchester United, Solskjaer sacking, and well, what that club needs to do to really get back on track, and a hell of a lot more. But have a listen to our views. As said, we're going to start with the rumours and news of the emergency meeting that preceded Solskjaer's sacking. So have a listen. Comment section is below. We'll know your views afterwards too. Pitch Talk
special feature segment.
Yeah, the no emergency meeting thing, take that with a grain of salt. I take it kind of either way with a grain of salt, to be perfectly honest, just like a good steak. But yeah, I mean, either way, it doesn't matter anyway. I mean, decisions like, oh, we're not going to sack him in the away game. It's like, oh, so reading into that is one of them was where it's like, oh, okay. So you're not going to sack him after an away game, but that doesn't mean you're not going to sack him at all. That's what, let's see, Dave it's like Martin Glenn saying, oh, the FA are guardians of the game and they must be seen to be applying the rules evenly and consistently. It's like, no. So you've botched right there. And anybody with half a brain who pays attention to this shit will know that, oh, okay, cool. So he's going to be sacked potentially after the next home game. So potentially after the next home game, as you said, Nate, against Arsenal. So at the end of the day, no matter what the result of that, it's decisions made with drawn swords. It's like Daniel Farke winning his first match of the season with Norwich, but getting sacked literally hours later. It's a case of decisions are already made. And if there was no emergency meeting, that's a big if. That might be just damage limitation, because they're saying that because to me, that is damage limitation, and I think there has been an emergency meeting but at the end of the day, you don't want to admit it because you don't want to look like you're mucking around and dilly-dallying, which obviously impacts on the share price. Things like that can make the share price drop, and that's not what Man United want from a financial perspective. So yeah, they can't afford for that. So you try and control PR as much as you can and do damage limitation. So there's that side of it. So United are covering that, whilst at the same time trying to make it not look like they're making a knee-jerk decision. So yeah, to me, it's all just PR limitation. It's like, oh, he's got such great standing at the club. We don't want to do this to him, but they're concerned, and apparently people have lost confidence in him. So it's either one or the other. It's either the dude's a club legend and his standing is good at the club, or he's running them into the ground in terms of results, and that's what he was hired to do, bring better results. They're sending mixed messages, but Manchester United are looking stupid in my view for it. So if I'm a shareholder or a stockholder or whatever, I'd be looking at this like, you better have already made a decision. You bet it's this is one of them ones where it's not if, it's when, and you better have that date rubber stamped, because if not, the board might turn. So it's like, it's a cluster. And to me, they're making themselves look really stupid. It's like, if you're going to make a decision, be firm and stick to it. And again, don't, because if Adidas come out tomorrow and say, we're not happy with this situation, we want this sorted, Solskjaer's gone. Because Adidas wield a lot of power. Just ask Paul Pogba how he returned to the club. And some people, I was talking to a Man United fan earlier on my team who actually didn't even know about that. And I was like, yeah, it's like that was pretty clear. You look at everything the time it was announced, the Stormzy video with Pogba as well. And it's like, United were not in control of that deal. They did it with Moyes. They did it with Van Gaal, where Adidas' CEO was like, we're not happy with the direction of the club. Came out and said that publicly, and that was extra pressure on both. And both ended up going not too long after. So, yeah, United they're trying to control PR whilst they're trying to stay babyface, but they're going to come out as nothing but heels.
So he's finally gone. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's finally gone. It was a good run for about 2.5 years, but he faced the same problem that every other Manchester United coach since Ferguson has faced. You bring in a superstar, they control the dressing room. And that's what's happened. He's brought in too many superstars, and they now control the dressing room. The only one that I would say as close to a superstar that tried to galvanise the squad was Cavani. And that's it. Everybody else, they're either a rising superstar or they're just not where they should be. But he's gone. New United manager coming up. Not the first time since the Ferguson era that they've changed manager halfway through the season. It's just interesting to see it, and it's an understanding of people. I don't think Van Gaal, Moyes, Mourinho, and ultimately Solskjaer also understood. I don't think they really understood the Manchester United way, number one, and possibly more than that, just understanding the players that they had with them. And I still think with their understanding of, we always have a player in the last 18 years from the youth academy coming through the ranks in the matchday squad, that's great and all, but again, you're signing massive stars who ultimately Sir Alex Ferguson wouldn't have signed if he didn't do his homework on them. Yes, I know everybody knows about Cristiano Ronaldo, but that was one of the poorest signings Manchester United have made since he's left. Why? Because for 6 years he's done what he needed to do in football. He was happy in Juventus, and if City were going to sign him, City were going to sign him. It was just like when we had to make the choice of whether we sign Fabregas, which we had in the clause that we could sign him from Barcelona, but a clause in his contract. But it was pointless because there wasn't anywhere that he could have fit into the new Arsenal squad. Not in my opinion, anyway. Moving on from that, there's others. Romelu Lukaku, you overly spent on him and then sent him on his way for a lot less. Paul Pogba, You needed Adidas to get involved in that deal. So you brought back players that had a bit of nostalgia to them, and the only player that was smart enough to stay away was Gerard Piqué. Yes, he was having a good time at Barcelona, but if I'm looking at him and I'm going, would you rather pick Manchester United post-Ferguson era? I'm pretty sure he made that decision in 2013 or 2014. And he said, no, not really, I'm good. Like, I wasn't given the opportunity when I was there, and now I'm going back to where I feel comfortable in Spain. That's where I'm going to play. And guess what happens? He goes and wins a Champions League at least 3 times. But I'll go back to a point that you made before, Liam, about people not backing themselves, even as coaches, but also as players, not backing themselves. And maybe even as clubs, they're not backing themselves. Brentford is a prime example of a team that backs themselves to find the right player at the right time. Whether that continues to work, I don't know, but at the moment it's worked for them. They find the right player for the right future or for the right league at the right time. Whereas Manchester United, all of these top clubs, they're just buying a player for now and hoping for the best. I know Arsenal have gone for a 5-year thing but this is what Tottenham did. They brought in players that they thought in 5 years will win the Champions League. Got to the final, lost 2-0. We're buying players that we said we're going to win we're going to be in the Champions League in 2 to 3 years. We're not going to be. It's not going to happen. And I get what Ramsdale did yesterday and he's been doing, but we're putting a shining light on Ramsdale. Great, wonderful, but that's because out of all the players on the Arsenal squad right now, the goalkeeper seems to be the best one. That's a concern for me, as not just as a coach, but as a fan. That's a concern for me. And if we've only scored, if the stats are true to form, that we've only scored from set plays, then there's a problem with what we're doing on the pitch. So we deserved to lose 4-0 yesterday. Putting that to the side, I don't think Mourinho, Solskjaer, Van Gaal, Moyes, all of those guys, I don't think actually got the best out of the players as people. So what they could do as in formations, in terms of understanding the opposition and blah, 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 getting those bits right, that was great. But at the end of the day, you got to understand the play, you got to understand the people. And when apparently Donny van der Beek said he was stunned by the amount that Solskjaer knew about him, I find that incredibly weird that as much as he knew about him, he still didn't play him until yesterday. And what happens? Well, he did play him, but the first time he actually plays him properly, he goes and gets a goal. There's some frustration in that. Look at McTominay. Look at Van der Beek. 2 different players, but can easily play a better. If Manchester United get it right, can easily play either 1 or 2 of them in the midfield. Fred, he's not a holding midfielder. They don't want. He's not. He's just not going to be one that wants to go for that. Number 2, you still got Matic. Send him on his way. Mata, send him on his way. Ronaldo, if you're looking at the future, then why are you bringing Ronaldo back? Pogba, loving the fact that he's got a contract, but now, look, you might as well just shift on. You're not going to get anything from this. Jesse Lingard's best season in the Premier League wasn't even at Manchester United. What does that say? That says so much, and yet we're still calling him a youngster as well, at the age of 28, 29. Who else? There's so many different ones, and I'm going, hold on. Manchester United just didn't understand the people at the club that they had playing for them. If you're going to be bringing talent through, then send them on their way. David De Gea should have gone. When he had the chance to go to Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, should have gone. Then you shift somebody else into his position. Romero, whoever. Sam Johnstone, whoever. Doesn't matter. Put them in his position. Let him go. That's what good. That's what Ferguson did right. If you wanted to go, you weren't staying. You can go. I'm not forcing you to stay. I'm not signing you on a bigger contract so that you can make more problems for the club. Nah. You want to go? See you later. Bye. That was the problem. Who else? There's so many rattled situations that Solskjaer was never in control of the team or the club at the club. He was never in control of it. Yes, he got the results when he did, but that was because he got somebody made a very good point a couple of years back. They signed him on a short-term deal, and he got the results that he needed to, especially against PSG in the Champions League. As soon as they signed him on that deal, I think somebody said it that week, it's not going to go well because he's on a long-term deal, and they knew from then on. I can't remember who said it, but it was a good thing that they said, because it was like, well, that shows it. He's good for business at the moment, not long term, and that's the issue. They're missing that, but that's my opinion. That's what I'm going with. I think that's the problem with Manchester United at the moment. It's not the short-term thing, short-termism for the long-term gains. It's understanding the people that you've got on your pitch before they go out to play football. I don't think they do that enough. If you can understand the group, you know what to do. You keep saying, "I've got the best players here. I've got the best coaches here." Well, you're losing games that you shouldn't be losing. It's not that difficult. And if you're meant to have one of the world's best on the pitch, playing from the start, then you should be providing that ball to him every single time, with runners coming off of him. That's not, "Oh, well, I don't know where to go." And if your goalkeeper is saying, "We don't know what we're doing with the ball," you're done. It's not even a question, you're done. So, like as I said, it's just something that I've noticed with Manchester United and the people. And as much as we've lauded saying that Ferguson ruled with an iron fist over Manchester United for a long time, and at least there was something that you could identify with Manchester United with in terms of going forwards. Right now, there is no identity and it's not clear. It's the same thing with Arsenal. There isn't an identity, and that's the issue.
No, you know what? I do get that in regards to like Man United paying over the odds for players and that kind of thing. But I also look at it as, well, you talked about the United way. I was actually saying to one of my Ibis teammates yesterday after our match, what way? United don't have a way anymore, and that's the problem, because that's one of the major problems. Because if you don't have a way, if you don't have a philosophy, you're all at sea. And look at Tottenham. Tottenham looked like they finally had a way, a philosophy under Pochettino. And what did they do? They go and get rid of it. They went and got rid of him over some dispute. It's like, we're going to cut the amount of money you've got to spend. It's like, dude, we've been building this, and you're going to cut the legs out at the final stage. Because they got to the Champions League final, and yes, we, Liverpool, beat them because we were a better team at that time. But Tottenham, it was on them where if they were in that position where it's like, they're finally going to kick on after all these years, after Jerry Francis, Harry Redknapp, Juan de Ramos, Christian Show You My Ticket Gross, after all that they've been through, all the crap players, all the deadwood, they finally got a team who looked like they were going to kick on. And then what does the owner do? Cuts the legs out, and now they're floundering again. They're back to square one. Man United was one of them ones. The Ferguson transition was always going to be a difficult one, and it was not going to happen overnight. But it's been 6, 7, 8 years since Ferguson stepped down, and they've looked lost ever since. Ferguson had that link between him and the board, where he could get what he wanted to do done, and done well. I remember he was highly experienced. He had had 4, 5, 6 years at Aberdeen up in Scotland before he came to United. Like Solskjaer has only had what, a year or two at Cardiff, a couple of years at Mulder. Minor, small clubs, different animals, and it's one number. And at the end of the day, in terms of understanding people and understanding players as people, what does that come with? One word, in my opinion, one word: experience. And I was saying to a teammate of mine who's a United fan yesterday, where you only get that you only get that experience with the experience, if you get what I'm saying. With time, it takes time, and it's one of them where it's like understanding players as people. I said experienced coaches know that. Experienced coaches can do that, but Solskjaer was clearly not experienced enough for that job. And it's like, and the thing is as well, when you've got a board, when you've got upper level management who don't care about the club, they're going to do short-term stuff. They're going to do stuff like the Pogba thing, letting Adidas run transfers. You can't let sponsors run transfers. You can't do that, because that completely undermines any manager that is there. Completely undermines them. You also can't let sponsors have influence over the playing style. Adidas' CEO, when Van Gaal was managing there and when Moyes was managing there, came out and said, "Oh, we at Adidas don't really like the style of play." And it's like, dude, it's none of your business. That's nothing to do with you. At the end of the day, you're a sponsor of this club. You are not part of the playing staff. You are not part of ownership. Even if you're a shareholder or stakeholder, more likely than not, you're not a football person. So let those who are specialists in that field do what they're doing. But because United are so desperate commercially to bring in that revenue, because they've got stockholders and shareholders to keep happy, they're letting that happen. And every manager who's going in there gets undermined. And it's the same. As I said, David Moyes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Louis Van Gaal, Jose Mourinho. Van Gaal or Mourinho, in my opinion, are world-class managers. World-class managers, both of them. And you know I hate saying that about Mourinho and putting him over, but he is. But the fact of the matter is, even they couldn't make it work at United. Even they only won a Europa League and an FA Cup. And with Man United's standards over the past 30 years, those are second-rate trophies. And anybody who wants to disagree with that, well, Man United showed their hand back in what? I think it was 2002. Sorry, not 2002, in 99-2000 with the World Club Cup, where they snubbed the FA Cup. So they showed from back then that it was a second-class trophy. So it's one of them where it's like you're always at Man United. Whoever goes in there now is going to be hamstrung, and it's going to be exactly the same way, because you can't have success, or at least sustained success. You can't have that without being one team, one dream, one goal, one prize, one aim that you're trying to fulfill. You cannot have sustained success if you do not have that. Look at Chelsea. They've been basically consistently inconsistent since Abramovich has been there. Yeah, they've won a lot, but they've not had that sustained period of dominance considering their financial backing. They haven't had the 4 years, 5 years, 6 years where they've ran things like Man United did in the mid-90s, in the mid to late 90s, because its foundation's built on sand. And Manchester United right now, as I said before, they're a team screaming out for a long-term plan, but they're going the short-term way about it. They really are. And I said, you can't have sponsors and stakeholders and shareholders getting involved in transfers. No. The manager has to be able to have the experience to identify the players that are going to fit perfectly into the system that he wants to play. And again, Solskjaer, not experienced enough, especially not for a club that big. Van Gaal, experienced enough, but you could see he was fighting with the board all the time. Same with Jose Mourinho. You could see he was fighting with the board all the time. And Mourinho, it was one of them ones. He didn't think Lukaku was good enough when Lukaku was at Chelsea. So for Lukaku to come back and all of a sudden be good enough now that he was at United. It's like, nah, bruh, nah, it doesn't work. He hasn't come on leaps and bounds as a player. That's why Chelsea buying him for what, 100 million euros was absolutely silly. Because it's one of them. It's not. It's like, dude, he's gone to Serie A for a couple of seasons. He's not become some amazing player since he left United. So there's so much wrong, and there's so much philosophy that needs to be basically reinstilled. And United, if you watch the FIFA Pitch documentary series, it says in there that United had lost their way. They didn't really have an identity, and then Ferguson moulded that over a few years. But Man United, again, because the Glazers don't give a damn, and they're all in it for the money, and they're strip mining that club. Because remember, half of everything that club makes on the New York Stock Exchange, the Glazers are taking. That's all you're going to have. It's going to stay like that, and that for me is the main issue. Because remember, praise travels up, blame travels down, but it should be the other way, and it really isn't. And I said, United have lost their way pretty clearly since Ferguson left, because the Man United way, you had Matt Busby previously. Then after Matt Busby, they were a sleeping giant. It was all, and I said, coming back to the Fever Pitch documentary, and remember, that was made by David Beckham's production company. So he was always trying to put Man United over in that documentary series. So it's not as if it's someone who hates Man United who did it, and is getting people who dislike Man United to come on it. You got a dude from the Man United Supporters Trust. But it's one of them ones. But the fact of the matter is, United at that time, before they won their first Premier League, they were a sleeping giant. And now, once again, I think they've regressed right to that. Because it was Ferguson who changed the culture, who changed the mantra of that club and brought them success long term. Over a decade and a half of success. But now, because they've gone back to this short-termist way of doing things, it's all coming home to roost. So I said, whoever's in next, whether it be Zidane, whether it be this guy, that guy, whoever, it doesn't matter. Until that club gets back to a look and puts down at least medium to long-term plan, nothing's going to happen. If anything, ironically enough, Liverpool are the example that Man United need to follow now. FSG 11 years ago, the foundations that they put down 11 years ago when they bought us from Gillette and Hicks have been coming to fruition in the last 3, 4, 5 years. So the proof is right there, because you can't always rely on billionaire owners to come in and just change everything. Newcastle are going to face that issue, because Man City, where they are, didn't happen overnight. They still ain't won a Champions League, and they got taken over in what, 08, 9, 10. They got taken over that long ago, and they still haven't won a Champions League. So it's like, it is what it is, right? I mean, it's a case of, I said, if they're going to keep doing the managerial merry-go-round, they're going to keep wallowing in mediocrity, and they're going to be stuck in that circle of mediocrity that they're in now. They're going to be stuck there, and they can do nothing about it. Because just, as I said, it's going to keep happening. Keep going back to square one. Keep going back and forth, because this foundation's built on sand.
Comment section is below. We want to know your views. Were Man United hasty or knee-jerk in sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Did he deserve it? Do Man United lack a plan? Long-term, medium-term, short-term, or otherwise? Has the club lost their direction? Is that why they're in the situation they're in now? www.pitch-talk.com, and I said comment section is below. Oh my, youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can catch our videos, including special feature segments such as this one. Also at Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. Also, we are on Podomatic, Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. That's where you can find the Pitch Talk podcast, as well as Verbal at Get Verbal on Twitter. Tweet them and tell them we sent you. We are Verbal ambassadors and proud of it. Check out verbal.com, VURBL. Also, we're on Instagram at Pitch Talk on Instagram. Also on our website as well, before I forget to mention, you can catch our podcast there as well. You can catch the RSS feed directly from our website, www.pitch-talk.com. You know what? I have been straight shooting LJA from myself, the G-Man, JBK, and Nathan Arsenal. We will see you next time. Comment section is below. Let us know your views and spread the word. Join the footballing revolution. Take it easy, people.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution.
Check out the official Pitch Talk website.
www.pitch-talk.com